Hi, Susie Rhodes with Past Masters. In this video, I'm going to talk about where does health insurance cover you? So coverage for your health insurance policy may be what we call occupational or non-occupational. Let me ask you, do you have a job where you're an employee? If you do, then what covers you at work for on-the-job injury, disability, or death? Your employer must provide you coverage for injuries, sickness, disability, death that happens at work. It's called workers' compensation. It is occupational coverage. Occupational coverage, covering you at work. So if that's the case, if you have workers' compensation where you work, your employer, when they have one or more employees, must pay the premium for workers' compensation. The coverage is required by law. So what the limits are vary by state. So if your employer doesn't have workers' compensation, they're going to get in trouble. They have to. It's required. So when you get hurt at work, disabled at work, you die at work, workers' compensation is what pays that claim. So when you have workers' compensation at work, your health insurance, so whether or not we're talking medical expense or we're talking a disability income policy, provides coverage for you when you're not at work, which is what we call non-occupational coverage. Coverage that covers you off the job only. Because you don't need coverage at work because you have workers' compensation that covers you at work. Health insurance follows the principle of indemnity where you can't be made better than you were before. Your expenses related to an on-the-job injury are covered by workers' compensation. You fall off your bike riding on Mount Lemon on the weekend, that's your medical expense policy. So what were you doing riding your bicycle up or down a mountain? I don't understand. I know lots of people do. Not me. So off the job coverage, non-occupational coverage. However, not everyone is required to have workers' compensation. But wait, Susie, you just said whenever a business has one or more employees, they must have workers' compensation. Well, I did, and that is true. But there's this whole category of people that don't work for others. They are, in fact, self-employed. So self-employed people do not have workers' compensation. They do not have to. They do not have to pay a premium for workers' compensation for themselves, so that their health insurance policy provides what we call occupational coverage. The only time you can purchase occupational coverage is when you don't have workers' compensation because you're not required to. When you don't have workers' compensation, your health insurance policy provides you coverage both on and off the job. So if you're purchasing disability income and you're self-employed, then your occupation is going to be a rating factor. When you're purchasing disability income and you have workers' compensation where you work, then your occupation doesn't matter. But your avocations, your hobbies, those would matter. So once again, your health insurance covers you where? Depends. If you have workers' compensation, your health insurance covers you off the job only. We call that non-occupational. And if you have no need to have workers' compensation because you're self-employed, then your health insurance covers you both on and off the job. Occupational coverage. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and turn those notifications on. If you would like to see Past Masters full course offerings or to enroll in any of our programs, there is a link in this video's description. Keep up the good work. Happy studies. Study, study, study. Pass!